Hey, it's Kathy. Happy Tuesday. I'm just gonna get my YouTube up so I can see that you guys can hear me and everything. And then we are gonna do Charlotte Smith today. We're gonna do Charlotte Smith. Let's see. There we go. We're gonna do Charlotte Smith. Cool, you can hear me. Awesome. Good to see you. My hair's wet again. It's gonna be dried by the time we're done, I think. Anyway, I hope you're having an awesome morning. Hope your week started out well. I'm doing the change of the seasons thing, so I'm trying to adapt. But October is my favorite month, so I can't complain because I love October. And today we're doing Charlotte Smith, and I have some quotes that I picked out that are on my posts page, and I can show you the one that I'm gonna do as of right now. Let me get it up for you. Hold on. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. We have the flowers fade, but all the thorns. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. I have an immediate visual I can use for this in my brain already. Something came to mind right away. These two feel very moony. Like I had the moon in mind, but I've been drawing the moon like almost every day. So it's like, let's mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna do some roses for this one. Well acquainted with roses. I've been drawing them. I have my mixed media coloring book coming out on roses. All roses. I've been drawing them on my last month. I drew them every day on my afternoon live and sometimes on this live. So not that that is neither here nor there, just that I really do enjoy drawing roses and they fit perfectly. What other flowers have thorns besides a rose? I think just roses have thorns, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Hold on one second. Gonna move over. I'm gonna plug my phone charger in because I want to make sure that my phone doesn't die. Okay. Alright. Let's see here. Let's read a little bit about Charlotte Smith. And I'm gonna try and get my head in frame. We'll see. We'll see how successful I am at that. Okay. Is that better? Is that better? Let's go to... Hey, Mike. There's my mic. Maybe that's better. Maybe that gives me more places for my head to go. Okay. Let's do this. We have another box. Shakespeare. Okay. Let's go Charlotte Smith. See what we get. See what we get. Oh, Charlotte Smith writer. That's what we got. Okay. Charlotte Smith Turner was her maiden name. May 4th, 1749 to October 28th, 1806, was an English poet of the school of sensibility whose elegiac sonnets, I wonder if I'm saying that right, contributed to the revival of the form in England. She also helped set conventions for Gothic fiction and wrote political novels of sensibility. Despite 11 novels, 4 children's books, and other works, she saw herself mainly as a poet and expected to be remembered for that. Smith left her husband and began writing to support their children. Ooh, I want more drama. What happened? Her struggles for legal independence as a woman affect her poetry, novels, and autobiographical prefaces. Clearly. She is credited with turning the sonnet into an expression of woeful sentiment, and her early novels show development in sentimentality. Later novels, such as Desmond and The Old Manor House, praised the ideals of the French Revolution. Waning interest left her destitute by 1803. How sad. How sad. Barely able to hold a pen, she sold her book collection to pay debts, oh my gosh, and died in 1806. Largely forgotten by the mid-19th century, she has since been seen as a major romantic precursor. Let's just dive in for a quick thread to romantic literature in English. Romanticism was an artistic, literary, and intellectual movement that originated in Europe toward the end of the 18th century. Scholars regarded the publishing of William Wordsworth and Samuel Coleridge's lyrical ballads in 1798 as probably the beginning of the movement in England, and the coronation of Queen Victoria in 1837 as its end. 1798 to 1837. Let's back up. 1798 to 1837. So if the movement sort of died in 1837, but waning interest left her destitute by 1803. Okay, we're talking kind of about two different things here, though. Poetry versus romantic literature. So I know they're probably adjacent, but not the same, because she was destitute by 1803. That's so sad. Okay, early life. Charlotte Turner was born May 4th, 1749 in London and baptized on June 12th as the oldest child of well-to-do Nicholas Turner and Anna Towers. Her two siblings, Nicholas and Catherine Ann, were born over the next 5 years. Smith received a typical girl's education and a wealthy late 18th century family. Her childhood was marked by her mother's early death, sad, probably giving birth to Catherine. That was, I think, must be her sister or something. I'm having a sip of my coffee, and I hope that you're not totally grossed out by mouth noises. But I'm gonna take a sip over there because I don't want to gross you out. So hold on. I guess I could like lower the volume, but I don't want to do that like 20 times. Okay. Let's go back to Charlotte Turner here. Her childhood was marked by her mother's early death, probably giving birth to Catherine, and her father's reckless spending. Dad. After losing his wife, Nicholas Turner traveled, and the children were raised by Lucy Towers, their maternal aunt. When exactly their father returned is unknown. Thank God they had a good aunt. Oh my gosh. This is like sad, right? At the age of 6, Charlotte went to school in Chichester and took drawing lessons from the painter George Smith. Hey there, Rim. I'm going to call you Rim 4464 because I don't know how to say your name, but hi. Welcome to my chat. Welcome to my stream. At the age of 6, Charlotte went to school in Chichester and took drawing lessons from the painter George Smith. 2 years later, she, her aunt, and her sister moved to London, where she attended a girls' school in Kensington and learned dancing, drawing, music, and acting. She loved to read and wrote poems, which her father encouraged. She even submitted a few to the Ladies' Magazine for publication, but they were not accepted. That's sad. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. Rejection's a part of life. We all get rejected a million times. Marriage and first publication. Cheers. Nicholas Turner met with financial difficulties on his return to England, and he had to sell some of his family's holdings. He married the wealthy Henrietta Meriton in 1765. Wait a minute. Who's Nicholas Turner? Oh, duh. This is her dad. Right? Hold on. I gotta back up. Must back up. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 minute. I gotta back up a little bit here. So Charlotte's Nicholas Turner was her dad and Anna Towers was her mother. Her mother died. Her father disappeared. She went to live with her aunt. Nicholas met with financial difficulties on his return to England, and he had to sell some of the family's holdings. He married the wealthy Henrietta Meriton in 1765. This is his second wife. His daughter entered society at the age of 12. What? Who's his daughter? He has daughters. Is this his new daughter? Did they leave out a sentence? Leaving school and being tutored at home. His reckless spending then forced her to marry early. In a marriage on February 23, 1765, at the age of 15, which she later described as prostitution, she was given to her by her father to a violent, profligate man, Benjamin Smith, son of Richard Smith, a wealthy West Indian merchant and a director of the East India Company. The marriage proposal was accepted for her by her father. Condemning his action 40 years later, Smith said it had turned her into a legal prostitute. Okay, well, this is her. This is Charlotte. It's not clear the way that this is written, but that's the deal. So she basically got sold to a guy and had to marry this guy. And that's why 12 children. Oh my God. She had 12 children. Yikes, okay? Just yikes. So if she was born in 1749, and then she got married, 1749, 59, 65. God, she got married at age 15. Ugh. God, that's gross. The Smiths had 12 children. The first, in 1766, died the next year, just days after the birth of the second. Oh my God, Benjamin Burney, 1767 to 1777. Their 10 more children between 1767 and 1785 were William Towers. Okay, we don't need to walk through all this. 6 of their children survived her. The Smith marriage was unhappy, obviously, right? She detested living in commercial Cheapside. The family later moved to Southgate and Tottenham, and argued with her in-laws, whom she saw as unrefined and uneducated. They in turn mocked her for spending time reading, writing, and drawing. Meanwhile, Benjamin proved violent, unfaithful, and profligate. I don't know what profligate means, so if anybody knows, you can let me know in the comments. If not, we can use like contextual clues to just sort of guess. Where are we? Profligate. Only her father-in-law, Richard, appreciated her writing abilities, although he wanted her to use them to further his business interests. Richard Smith owned plantations in Barbados, which provided the income of 2,000 francs a year, but no, is that pounds? That's pounds. Upon which Charlotte Smith and her family lived. Smith would later criticize slavery in works such as The Old Manor House and Beachy Head, 1807. The Old Manor House, 1793, and Beachy Head. I like that name, Beachy Head. 1807. She persuaded Richard to set Benjamin up as a gentleman farmer in Hampshire and lived with him from 1774 until 1783 at Liss Farm, Bramdean, about 10 minutes east of Winchester. Worried about Charlotte's future and that of his grandchildren, and concerned that his son would continue his irresponsible ways, Richard Smith willed most of his property to Charlotte's children. However, notice he didn't say his son's children. However, he drew up the will himself, and it contained legal problems. The inheritance, originally worth nearly $36,000, was tied up in chancery after his death in 1776 for almost 40 years. Smith and her children saw little of it. Oh, how sad. What's chancery? Is it gambling? I'm guessing. I'm gonna click in to the little chancery. Court of Chancery was a court of equity in England and Wales that followed a set of loose rules to avoid a slow pace of change and possible harshness. Sorry, I'm trying to shortcut this for us. Jurisdiction. I don't know. All right, I don't know what chancery is, and that's okay. That's okay. Not a big deal. Let's just skip it right now. Where are we? Chancery after his death. Okay, the inheritance, originally worth nearly $36,000, was tied up in chancery after his death in the courts, let's just say. After his death in 1776 for almost 40 years, Smith and her children saw little of it. It has been proposed that this may have inspired the famous fictional case of the interminable legal proceedings. Jarndyce and Jarndyce in Dickens' Bleak House. Charles Dickens' Bleak House. Okay. Cheers. Coffee mouth noises. Hope that didn't churn ya. Okay. In fact, Benjamin illegally spent at least a third of the legacy and ended up in King's Bench Prison, a debtor's prison, in December. Isn't that interesting? In December 1783. Smith moved in with him, and it was there that she wrote and published her first work. Elegiac Sonnets achieved instant success, 1784, allowing Charlotte to pay for their release from prison. Wow, this is such a drama! Smith's sonnets helped initiate a revival of the form and granted an aura of respectability to her later novels, as poetry was then considered the highest art. Smith revised elegiac sonnet poems several times over the years, eventually creating a 2-volume work. This is interesting. She's fascinating. Oh my goodness. I'm not going to read all of this. Let's see if we can find a little bit. Old Manor House is frequently deemed, yes, this is good, Smith's best novel for its sentimental themes and development of minor characters. Novelist Walter Scott, who we have heard from before, or heard about before, indirectly in this month. In this month's Inktober, talking about Gothic author women. He labeled it as such, and poet and critic Anna Letitia Barbald chose it for her book series, The British Novelists. That's another thing they did. You know how we have like short story collections and stuff? They did that a lot back then. Same idea. They also had magazines, like literary magazines, culture magazines, things like that. That was big too. I think that was especially big with how a lot of these women sold their stories and things to these magazines. Okay, let's keep going. Old Manor House, frequently deemed Smith's best novel. As a successful novelist and poet, Smith communicated with famous artists and thinkers of the day, including musician Charles Burney, father of Frances Burney. I don't know who that is. Poet Samuel Taylor Coleridge. His daughter Sarah Coleridge was a poet, and I illustrated a children's book, The Months, which is her poem. That was many years ago, but fun fact. Scientist and poet Erasmus Darwin, lawyer and radical Thomas Erskine, novelist Mary Hayes, playwright Richard Brinsley Sheridan, and poet Robert Southey. An array of periodicals reviewed her works, including the Anti-Jacobin Review, the Analytical Review, the British Critic, the Critical Review, the European Magazine, and the Gentleman's Magazine, the Monthly Magazine, and the Universal Magazine. What'd I tell you about magazines? They were hot. Magazines were hot. Smith earned most money between 1787 and 1798, after which she was no longer so popular. Several reasons have been given for her the declining public interest, including erosion of the quality of her work after so many years of literary labor. Oh, that's sad. Oh, as an artist, as a fellow artist, that's very sad to hear. You don't often hear stories like this. I have never heard that sentence before. I've heard people's sight failing or mental state failing or this or that, but erosion of the quality of her work after so many years of literary labor is not something I've heard, and that makes me sad. Like she worked too much at stuff that she didn't like, that she just like lost her interest maybe, or ability to just, she just got burned out. An eventual waning of readerly interest as she published on average one work per year for 22 years, and a controversy that attached her to her public profile as she wrote on the French Revolution. Both radical and conservative periodicals criticized her novels about the Revolution. Her insistence on pursuing a lawsuit over Richard Smith's inheritance lost her several patrons. Her increasingly blunt prefaces made her less appealing. Okay, so she was getting a little, a little salty, maybe. And good for her, right? Please get salty. It sounds like she needed to get salty. I understand why she's salty. What a life. Okay. To continue earning money, Smith began writing in less politically charged genres. This included a collection of tales, Letters of a Solitary Wanderer, 1801 to 1802, and the play What Is She, 1799, attributed. Her most successful foray into children's books, Rural Walks, 1795, Rambles Farther, 1796, Minor Morals, 1798, and Conversations Introducing Poetry, 1804. She also wrote 2 volumes of history. Okay. We don't need to keep reading this. Publishers paid less for these, however, and by 1803 Smith was poverty-stricken. She could barely afford food or coal. She even sold her beloved library of 500 books to pay off debts, but feared being sent to jail for the remaining 20. Oh my god. For the remaining 20, whatever money. It looks like an F. Is that a pound? Help me. I don't know. I've been to London too. Wait a minute. They didn't have pounds. We had euros. We had euros when I went to London. Illness and death. Smith complained of gout for many years. It was likely rheumatoid arthritis, which made it increasingly difficult and painful for her to write. By the end of her life, it had almost paralyzed her. Oh, God. She wrote to a friend that she was literally vegetating, for I have very little locomotive powers beyond those that appertain to a cauliflower. Oh my gosh, that's so sad. On 23 February 1806, her husband died in a debtor's prison, and Smith finally received some money he owed her, but she was too ill to do anything with it. She died at Tilford a few months later on October 28, 1806, and was buried at Stoke Park near Guildford. The lawsuit over her father-in-law's estate was settled 7 years later on 22 April 1813, more than 36 years after Richard Smith's death. All right, that's sad. All right, so she has a legacy. She had, critical legacy and critical reputation. Let's look for the part of, I just want to find the Gothic stuff. It's so hard to scan stuff in Wikipedia when you have just like a gigantic block of text. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Was Old Manor House the Goth? Hold on. I'm gonna go Charlotte, Smith, Gothic, work. No, just Gothic. Charlotte Smith writer, Gothic feminism. Yes. Here we are. Okay, Gothic feminism. Penn State University Press. Okay. Ooh, there's a book called Gothic Feminism. Hey, there it is. From Charlotte Smith to the Brontes. The professionalization of gender from Charlotte Smith to the Brontes. Okay, good. Ooh, I should look that up on Audible. All right. Well, this is good to know about. I'm learning so much this month. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Charlotte Smith, Gothic writing. What Gothic books? Gothic author. Let's look up. See what happens. Charlotte Smith. Okay, Mary Shelley's the most famous Gothic author. What are the 4 Gothic novels? Fascinating. Really? How come this is the first time I'm hearing about this? Charlotte Smith. Horace Walpole, the godfather of Gothic writing. Well, classifies a book as Gothic due to its blend of suspense, mystery, and the supernatural, set against a backdrop of decaying, isolated locations like castles or old mansions. Key elements include a threatening atmosphere, psychological torment, and themes of death, decay, madness, and curses. Often, there's an innocent protagonist and a brooding, mysterious figure, with plots involving secrets, imprisonment, and the past intruding on the present. All right, let's do our quote, because this is, I could just go down this rabbit hole like all day. Books. Charlotte. Why can I not see? Wait, Emmeline. Okay. So Charlotte Smith's book, how come we haven't heard of this in the Wikipedia? I don't know. Her novel Emmeline contains themes and plot points that are considered foundational to the Gothic genre, such as financial ruin caused by gambling and the resulting family distress. While not exclusively a Gothic writer, Smith wrote politically charged novels and is also famous for her revival of the sonnet form. Smith has a significant impact on other authors, including Wordsworth and Jane Austen, who were influenced by her writing and her life story. Her life story, devastating. My God, devastating. Okay. Let's go to, I'm going to tap into Emmeline. Emmeline, The Orphan of the Castle, was the first novel written by English writer Charlotte Smith. It was published in 1788. About local legend of a woman who becomes ostracized by everyone in her hometown in Maine after a shocking long-held secret becomes public. Oh, Emmeline. It's a fictionalized account of the life of Emmeline Beckelder Gurney. Interesting. Who's this? Who's Emmeline Gurney? I don't know. All right. I'm rabbit holing. Let's not do that. Okay. So now we're gonna go and look at the quote and draw it. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. And that's one of her poems. That's from a poem because she was a poet. And that's gothy enough for me right now. I will take it. Let's see if I can find my rose book. Hold on. You know, the book that I used all last month. There it is. We got it. Hey, old friend. Let's look at a few roses. Let's see. It's 10:39. We can be done. by 11, no problem. Okay, that's a pretty one. I want to do some roses and then like have them sort of bleeding, if you know what I'm saying. If you know what I'm saying. It's going to be the flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. So let's do that. I'm just going to precariously balance my book over here. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. We're just going to do some roses because we can. Because we can. Let me just make sure that we are in. Just want to make sure that in frame. Okay. And Inktober, so hey, let's zoom you in a little bit. Here we go. No, like that. That's better. Hey Slip, have you been using a different name? Because I don't recognize your name. I don't recognize your name. From other streams. Maybe, but I won't tell you. Haha. Okay. Thanks, Slippa. Okay. Let's write the quote in. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. It is, it's like, I think it's like 10:45 p.m. a.m. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. Oh, that's a good time. At least it's not like 4 in the morning or something, something like that. That's good. Dinner time, sorta, right? But all the thorns remain. Slippa says, and also I don't usually come for the lives. That's why you might not recognize my name. I usually watch your videos or I watch after the live stream ends. Oh, thank you. Glad you watched my content. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it and glad you could make it to a live. A live. They're always lives, but you know what I mean. That's awesome. And I'm glad somebody watches them after they're done because that doesn't happen very often, Depends on the live. My vertical ones get more play after than my horizontal ones. But anyway, here we are. And I'm liking this. This is feeling good to me. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. And then we're going to write her name. Slippa says, it's not nice to be able to talk without people asking, 3 seconds, because no one to understand my accent because it's a mix of two. I bet you have a lovely accent. And it's interesting too. Very unique. Love that. I'm just going to drag out these letters a little bit. And I think we'll keep it simple today, really. Slippa says, well, Lebanese and Scottish accent. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, that does sound very good. Do you have a YouTube channel that you'd make videos on? Because I would go just to hear your accent. All right, I'm going to write Charlotte Smith down here. Anyway, let me know. Let me know, Slippa, if you have content to watch. Charlotte Smith. All right. Let's draw maybe some leaves on the branches here. Let's do some leaves. All right. I only have two shorts. This is Slippa talking. She says, I only have like 2 shorts and neither of them have voice. Oh, I want to hear your voice. Yeah, we're getting there, right? It's going fast today. Which is good because I spent a lot of time on the talkie part, which I have been doing more and more because I'm fascinated by the history. And I just can't help myself. I'm just reading about it, reading about each of the authors that we are highlighting, and it's kind of fascinating. It's more than kind of, it's very fascinating. Love reading the history and learning about it, about these people, is very fascinating. I'm gonna write like something. I have to just do some adjustments here real quick. Move my book, and then I'm going to go back to the iPad for a second. Gotta go to, I need to find out about a little bit. I gotta go back to Charlotte here. Charlotte Smith. I need details, Charlotte. I need data points on Charlotte. Charlotte. I just want her, dates, and I didn't remember them. We have 1749 to 1806. Cheers, guys. Cheers. 1749. 1806. $17.49, 1806. The thorns remain. They certainly do. Then we have some thorns. And Slippa says, what brush are you using? This is a Pentel, excuse me. This is a Pentel brush pen. It is called many different things. Sometimes it's called a pigment brush pen. Sometimes it's called the color brush pen, but it's always the Pentel brush pen. What I mean is sometimes it's packaged as Pentel color brush pen, Pentel pigment brush pen, whatever. It's all the same thing, basically. Sometimes I think that the different extra word denotes what type of ink that they put in it. But I refill these, refill these myself. So that's neither here nor there, but I just wanted to share that with you. I have In this right now, I have Sumi ink. I'll show you. This is the ink I have in it right now. This one. And, oh, wait a minute. It might be this one, actually. I don't remember. I think it might be this one. Did I refill it with this? It might be this. I'm not sure. Sorry, I don't remember. But, yeah, you can refill them. You can hack them. They're not that direct to hack, but you can refill them. So you don't always have to be buying the refills. The refill chambers, they come in like a chamber. This part is a refill on these, but it's actually, this is not completely filled with ink. When you buy the refill, there's chambers inside here, so you can hack that. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. This is probably too much information for right now, but yeah, this is a Pentel pigment or color brush pen, and it's a great pen. I'm just drawing some drips with my brush, like that. Little design element, right? There we go. All right, I'm gonna move you like this. Oops, sorry. How's that? I want to make sure that you can see the whole thing right now, because I'm probably going to be doing some like bigger movements. I really want to add some water to this, but I'm using this pen and ink paper by Canson, this stuff, and it's not real great with water, so maybe I won't do that as much as I would like to. Slippa also says, the best way for you to envision my accent. I am such a Googler, I'm probably going to go off and Google. Am I lagging for you guys? I'm lagging for me. And I can't tell if I'm lagging for you. Let me know. All right. We are at 11 o'clock now. And we're gonna end the live soon. I will be back at 12:30 doing a page from Garden Fairy Cats, which is my one of my upcoming coloring books. So if you would like to see some Procreate drawing, definitely come back for that. But I'm here every morning at 10 a.m. Doing another Inktober drawing. And this month we're doing this on Inktober. This is my first Inktober, actually. This is my first time doing Inktober. And it's women Gothic writers of the 18th, 19th, 20th century. So very kind of high concept, really. And how it came about is because I was doing authors. I was gonna do Gothic and horror authors, quotes, and what happened was there was like this devastating lack of women writers. And I was just like, what? Like, where are the ladies? Hello, you know? We need some girl power here. And then I thought, oh yeah, right. Equality. Like, yeah. women don't get the same opportunities, so of course there's not going to be, you know, as many known women writers. So that's when I set out to discover more these women writers and really focus on them instead of, you know, our usuals, right? Our Charles Dickens, our Edgar Allan Poe, etc. Who we love, and Shakespeare, you know, love all these people, but like, let's give the ladies some, let's learn, you know, let's use this as a learning moment. So that's what I did. And that is what we got. So that's what we're doing. I really want to add some, dirt to this. I want to add some dirt to this, you know? I think we're good almost. I'm just making some finishing touches right now. So this is a quote from Charlotte Smith, who was a writer, a poet, and a Gothic writer. 1749 to 1806 she lived. She died destitute. And she had a devastating life. We went over it in the early part of this live. She was married off at 15 by her father to some dude. She had 12 kids, like, brace yourself. She had 12 children, 6 of whom, 6 who outlived her, but she, 2 of them died like fairly immediately after birth. So, I mean, this woman, some of these women, I mean, very interesting, but just devastating lives. Devastating. Trauma, the trauma. Ooh, see, just like, this is like the finishing touches just make all the, right? They just make all the difference. They make all the difference. I love the finishing touches. I feel like sometimes that's really where the magic happens, you know? Like, you lay the groundwork, and then the finishing touches are just like chef's kiss, right? So here we are. Here we are. Maybe we do like that. Now we're veering into don't overdo it territory, so. But I like that, I like that grit. I like to add some grit to this. So that's awesome. And yeah, we're good. So I'll be back tomorrow with, who's day 22? Our day 22 author is Marie Corelli. I think she had more of a full-on Gothic writer career than our friend Charlotte Smith did. And here's where we are. Sometimes it pays to do to go with a tried and true, you know, design theme, like type of, what am I trying to say? Sometimes it pays to go with something that you're very familiar with drawing, such as roses. So here we are. The flowers fade, but all the thorns remain. Charlotte Smith. And I hope that you had a good time today. If you're just coming onto this live stream right now, I did a whole bunch of talking about her life earlier in the live stream. So if you're interested in learning about her devastatingly goth life, which she totally did have, and a totally devastating death too, because she died destitute, and very sad. But yeah, you can go back into the live and watch it. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll be back at 12:30 for a Procreate live doing garden fairy cats, and I'll just show you a real quick. I'll just show you what I'm working on. So we're gonna finish this one today, and there we go. All right. I think I'm lagging. So anyway, all right. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.